Growth is not just an option, it is the essence of life itself. Every living thing either grows or decays, evolves or withers, expands or contracts. The same applies to us as human beings. From the moment we take our first breath, we are thrust into a world that demands growth. As children, we grow physically without effort. We learn to walk, to speak, to interact. But as adults, physical growth slows down, and the responsibility of personal, mental, emotional, and spiritual growth shifts entirely onto us. That is where many people stop settling into routines, comfort zones, and patterns that trap them. They stop chasing evolution. They stop becoming, and yet, the ones who refuse to stop, the ones who choose to keep growing, become unstoppable forces in this world. Think of the people you admire most. They are not stagnant. They are not comfortable sitting in mediocrity. They are constantly learning, evolving, pushing, stretching, and unlocking new layers of themselves. That is why they inspire you, because deep down, you know you were made for the same. You were not created to play small. You are not designed to stay the same year after year. You were created with infinite potential, and growth is the key to unlocking it. But what does unstoppable growth look like? It is not about overnight transformations. It is not about achieving massive success instantly. Instead, it is about small, consistent steps taken with relentless persistence. Growth is about the compounding effect of effort. One small improvement each day may seem insignificant, but over time, it becomes extraordinary. Just like water cutting through rock, not because of power but because of persistence. Your growth comes from what you do consistently, not occasionally. The truth is, comfort is the greatest enemy of growth. Comfort convinces you to stay where you are, to avoid risk, to repeat what you already know. But growth demands discomfort. Growth requires you to do things you have never done, to think in ways you have never thought, to step into places that terrify you. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable, even painful at times. But that discomfort is proof that you are evolving. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, you expand it. What was once terrifying becomes normal. What was once impossible becomes achievable. And what once held you back becomes fuel for your next step forward. Consider this. The strongest trees are not those sheltered in safety, but those that grew against the winds, storms, and challenges of nature. Their roots run deep because they had to endure hardship. Likewise, your greatest strength will come from the moments you choose to grow despite difficulty. Failure, setbacks, and obstacles are not signs that you should stop. They are invitations to grow stronger. If you truly want unstoppable growth, you must first embrace the truth that growth is not a destination. It is a journey without end. Too many people fall into the trap of thinking, once I achieve this goal, I'll be complete. Once I get this promotion, I'll be fulfilled. Once I reach this level of success, I'll stop. But growth doesn't end with one milestone. Growth is continuous. Growth is eternal. The beauty of growth lies in its endlessness. There is always a higher level. No matter how much you achieve, there is always more to learn, more to create, more to give, more to become. This isn't a burden, it's a gift. It means life will never run out of meaning or purpose, as long as you choose to keep growing. Think of the greatest innovators, leaders, and changemakers in history. Did they stop once they reached success? No, they kept pushing. Thomas Edison didn't stop after creating the light bulb. He went on to pioneer innovations that transformed entire industries. Nelson Mandela didn't stop after leaving prison. He grew into a leader who reshaped a nation. Growth is not about one victory. It is about becoming someone who continually evolves, no matter the circumstances. And this is where many people get it wrong. They think growth is only about external achievements. They believe success is measured by money, fame, or recognition. But true growth starts within. You can gain the world and still feel empty. If you have not grown internally, real growth is when your mind expands, your resilience strengthens, your character deepens, and your capacity to love and serve increases. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you challenged your own beliefs? When was the last time you read a book that shook your thinking? When was the last time you practiced a skill so relentlessly that you became unrecognizable to your past self? That is the growth I'm talking about, the kind that transforms not just what you do, but who you are. Now, let's talk about momentum. Growth requires momentum, and momentum comes from consistent action. The problem is, many people wait for motivation before taking action. They wait until they feel ready. But here's the truth. Motivation is fleeting. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. When you take one small step, you build momentum. When you repeat that step daily, it becomes habit. And when habits are compounded over time, they create unstoppable growth. Picture this. A single drop of water may seem insignificant, but when it keeps falling on the same spot, it carves through stone. Your daily actions may feel small, but they are carving your future. Never underestimate the power of repetition. It's not what you do occasionally that changes your life, it's what you do consistently. This is why discipline is more powerful than motivation. Discipline means showing up even when you don't feel like it. Discipline means honoring your commitments long after the excitement has faded. Discipline means doing the work when nobody is watching. And over time, discipline shapes you into someone unrecognizable to your former self. That is how growth happens. But let's be real, growth is not always glamorous. It is not always inspiring or Inspire-worthy. Sometimes, growth looks like waking up early when you'd rather sleep. Sometimes, it looks like studying when your friends are out having fun. Sometimes, it looks like facing painful truths about yourself. But in those moments, you are planting seeds. Seeds that will one day grow into results you cannot even imagine. Here's the key. Trust the process. Growth doesn't always show immediate results. Just like bamboo spends years growing roots underground before it shoots up into the sky, your growth may be invisible for a while. But when the time is right, all that unseen effort will burst forth into undeniable success. The world will call it overnight success, but you will know it was years in the making. So, let me remind you, stop comparing your growth to others. Everyone has a different timeline. Some people bloom early, others bloom later. But what matters is that you keep watering your seeds, keep showing up, keep learning, keep evolving, because the moment you stop growing is the moment you start dying. This is the law of life. Evolve or expire. And the choice is always yours.